Today we are talking about the classic film Catch Me If You Can, but I'm going to explain to you why the movie's not what you think it's really about. Next, here on The Unspoken. Fellas, classic film, DiCaprio, Hanks, Christopher Walken, who gives you a great performance,
Every
Martin
time.
Sheen, Nathalie Baye, great performance, early Amy Adams, Academy Awards, Best Supporting Actor, Best Original Score, 52 million on the budget, 352 on the gross. Released Christmas of '02 for 30 million that weekend. Number two behind Lord of the Rings, Two Towers.
Yeah, you can't beat that no matter what.
Here's the thing about this, and I want to give you a different perspective. Because I'm sure if I would have asked Adrian what this movie was about, he would say, oh, it's about a con man who. Nah, it's not what this movie's about. This movie is about a child who lost his privilege and spent the rest of his life trying to regain it. Is that a wrong perspective?
No, you're 100% right.
Or a child who lost love because his mom and dad divorced, and he was out there searching for acceptance.
In this film, the loss of the privilege led to the loss of love.
So for me, it was more of a child who was kind of ruined by his parents at a young age, and tried to really. He had this image in his head of this perfect family. He thought that they were, and then as he got older and learned that family really wasn't what he imagined it to be. That's kind of what I think this came from, and as you saw later on in the film, I won't jump too far ahead here, Chuck, but later on in the film, when he's with the character Amy Adams played in her family, he saw what it was like to be in a family a real family that wasn't really broken and kind of just put on a mask for the world. So to me, that's the film was about, him dealing with that poor upbringing and then trying to get back to that.
I don't know if it's poor upbringing. So really quickly, I think there's a little bit of imagery in the beginning of this film that I really locked into. And it's very early. It's a dance scene where the mother's saying, oh, hey, your son got you beat on the dance floor. You know what I mean? They have a nice little romantic, a nice little family scene there. And the mother ends up spilling the wine on the floor. Oh, gosh, right? And they're scrambling around to get this resolved. And Frank comes back in, Frank Jr., and he realizes while there's dancing, there's a stain here, right? Things ain't perfect. You know what I mean? And to me, that was imagery of, yeah, they're working, they're doing some things, but it's not all perfect out here. And that stain got bigger and bigger as they continued to dance. I'm not sure if you guys noticed that. And to me, that showed some of the imagery of what was going to happen to that relationship later when that stain starts to get too big.
I agree with you that I felt that was definitely a good piece of foreshadowing that they did there. And initially watching it, I didn't catch it. I kind of actually locked in on that scene of the floor and their feet dancing on the stage, and you knew it kind of had a purpose to it, but you really weren't sure what the purpose was until you got further along in the film. That's a good observation, Jeff. I'll give you that.
I'm here for good observations, brother. That's kind of what I do. I'm not sure.
Not really, but I'll give you this one.
Every once in a blue moon.
No, this dude is a doctor. He's a lawyer. He's a pilot, all before the age of 19.
And in real life, he was also a teacher at one point in time. That's why they kind of hinted at it when he did the teaching in his class. So he was also a teacher all before the age of 1920. Like, insane. That's crazy. And to make it even crazier, this man, and they showed it in the film, he passed the bar exam by only studying for like 2-3 weeks before. Like, how many people study months for that and still fell? And he's not even over the age. I forget when he did that, but he wasn't 20 when he did that yet.
I think for him and to his father to a lesser extent, it was a thrill of playing these characters of doing this. It was a thrill to go ahead and get over on people. I mean, at one point, it became a way for him to survive after he ran away from home.
Yeah.
But before that, it was like, it was fun to mess with that dude in French class, the French teacher for a week. So it was fun for his dad to play the big shot, even though his store was going broke. But after he actually had to get out in the real world, it became more of a survival mechanism versus that initial thrill that it was.
Jamal, I don't want to say it, but you and I have been carrying this show in terms of intelligent things. Once again, Adrian is way off the mark with his view.
Never.
Me and you would agree, Jamal, that the father is as close to a demigod as possible in this film.
It's true.
The father is giving you the life lesson of, well, there's two. First is, hey, listen, man, it's not that bad. We're going to weather the storm, and love's going to get us through. That's the message I got from the dad. You know what I mean? And then secondly, the message was towards the end, because he started to feel it a little bit. Like, yo, hey, man, I understand, you're taking advantage of the system right now, and the feds are hunting you. The IRS been on me for 20 years. Remember, the whole story is about him losing everything because of the IRS. He lost his wife because of the IRS. He lost everything. So now he sees his son working against him. Hey, man, I get it.
He lost his wife before the IRS. Wasn't she cheating?
Because he started cheating when they moved to the apartment building and they didn't have the luxury money anymore.
Here's the thing y'all gotta understand, though. Here's the thing y'all gotta understand. Like, he liked his dad, right? He liked the way his dad, showed him how to be on some scale, a big shot or whatever have you, and everything that he does. You know what I mean? From going to get his suit from, the store where you're supposed to buy the suit, but this dude cons his way into renting the suit, because he didn't have the money to buy it.
Yeah.
So all of this stuff. But what I got from it was the real con that he learned his stuff from was his mother. Ooh. She was the true con.
Please explain. You do this all the time.
If you notice, throughout the whole scene, she never gets caught.
What she do?
It's called Catch Me If You Can.
What she do though? She
cheated on her husband, maybe?
She never gets caught.
But Jamal, you just further exploded on why these two on the bottom of the screen don't belong.
Well, again, this is
Hear me out now. Hear me out.
Go ahead.
That's a force.
When let's go back to the dance scene. When they're dancing and stuff. What's the story that they're telling? They're talking to the dad's telling this story. He told 100 times. The son is able to play it back word for word. He's saying, they went, the daddy was in the army or whatever have you. They went to this little town in France, and they met this bombshell who was performing on the stage, and blah 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 blah. And everybody wanted her, but the dad came with her. She was the prize. She was the big star resistance that everyone wanted to have, right? Mm-hmm. So now, when you take that and you put it with the rest of the whole movie, you realize when he first started doing his cons, he was failing. He couldn't even keep an apartment. You know what I mean? Because he was trying to do it his dad's way. Yeah. So then after a while, he realized, you know what? I got to do this my mom's way. I got to go all the way to the top. So he started looking for characters that people ask very little questions towards. The air pilot, you know what I mean? Once everyone sees the suit and everything like that, they don't ask any questions. So long as you have the right things to say.
I think you reach with the mother. I think you
It's not
reach
a
a little
reach.
bit.
Well, put it like
Well,
this.
you just aligned yourself with them because that is a reach.
I digress.
Hold up. Put it like this. Put it like this. Every time, Tom Hanks started getting close on he kind of starts smelling that he's close to him. What does he do? He switch up, right? He switched up to a no character, right?
Yeah.
What did the mom do? When she found out, when she started catching wind that the dad was going down, he was sinking with the ship, what does she do? She jumps onto his boss. She goes for somebody bigger.
Yeah, but she's not
The
her
con is the same.
Yeah, I think that he just took his dad's game to the next level. To become a better
That's
version.
what I think. I think he took the dad's game to the next level.
I think he followed suit the whole time with the mom. Because keep in mind, you said the whole way through that he was looking for family. He was looking for that nucleus family type scene. And who did he go running back to and seeing that somebody had this family scene? It was the mom. He was looking in the mirror and seeing, she had the whole Christmas tree and the husband and the kid, the milk and cookies. And he's sitting here like,
I disagree.
What about
Chuck Maul? I mean, obviously you both were wrong here. And to all the viewers out there who want to be on the right side, when you can go check us out on Instagram, Facebook, wherever. Be sure to tag the person who's actually right. That would be become a member of the hashtag become a Cinemaniac. All right, join the club, become a Cinemaniac, and become part of the right side of this argument. Now, with that said, right, like I was mentioning before, I really feel it was just him taking his dad's game to the next level. He became better at it than his dad did, and to say his dad was this demigod was just so wrong. Because at one point he's begging his dad to tell him to get out. He wants to get out of the game, and his dad would not give him that out. His dad would just say to him, "Where are you going tonight? Where are you going? Someplace tropical? Someplace exotic?"
I would say he had his father on the pedestal, though.
His father was his hero. His father was his hero. And
I would say that he had his mom on his pedestal. He had his mom on the pedestal. Because what did you say? What does he say to the dad? He's like, I bought you this new car. Why don't you go and call mom right now and take her for a ride and I'm sure this will get her back. Like, dude.
See, I think that's for the journey of trying to make his dad happy. I think that's
that's the family. That's the family aspect.
That was his dad's
and the father loved and the father
he wants his family back.
But the father was always talking about bringing the family back.
Remember when that happened too? It was that happened right after he witnessed Martin Sheen's character and playing Amy Adams' father and his wife in there doing the little sways kind of side to side, reminded him of what he thought his parents were, and on the couch watching TV, having that kind of family moment. That's when he reached out to his dad. The scene immediately after that was him reaching out to his dad to try to get his dad to get back with mom. Let's have the family back together so we're a happy family, like I thought it was. But that really wasn't the case. It was never really the case.
Can I talk about a heartbreaking scene really quickly?
Yes.
I know.
I'm always on for that.
If you've tuned into the Unspoken for any length of time, you know that Moan's on the verge of tears at any moment. Right?
Every video, every week, most crying about something.
There's a scene in this film where Frank Abagnale Jr. is like, "Dad, I got money and things are gonna be better, and I got a red caddy outside, and here's the keys and light, and we about to turn up, and it's gonna be incredible." Like, yo, you know what would happen if the IRS saw me in a red Cadillac? I took the train coming here. I'm going back home on the train. That broke my heart. Because I'm like, you see the son thinking this is the magic potion, right? Like, this is going to get everything back the way it's supposed to be. My dad's going to be happy. Life's going to be great. And there was a reality gut punch right away. And I was like, that hurt me a little bit.
But
I'm sorry. I think it got so bad to the point where now Christmas Eve comes around every year. He's calling Hanratty, Tom Hanks' character, every Christmas Eve because he's lonely, because he doesn't have that family that he thought he had. And just to kind of sidetrack for a second, I'm looking through the list of people who had roles in this movie, and obviously we know Tom Hanks, Leonardo DiCaprio, Christopher Walken, three masterful performances. But then the supporting cast have all been headliners themselves after this movie, and even before, like Martin Sheen, Amy Adams, James Brolin, who's Josh's dad. We all love Josh Brolin, Thanos himself, right? Jennifer Garner, Ellen Pompey, and Elizabeth Banks, all big time heavyweight people in Hollywood, and all just wrapped up in this quick little scenes of this movie.
Yeah.
So no, I just digress. I just had to get that part out there because I just felt like that needs to be touched on. But getting back to Hanratty and his relationship with Leo's character, they became almost friends, right? They kind of almost needed each other at some point during this whole years and years of chasing each other. And at the end of the film, you kind of see where they actually became actual friends when you kind of got the titles at the end. But I thought, again, it was really interesting to see how this guy, being this kid, grew up and getting in this house where his family's all screwed up, and ends up latching on to anything he can latch on to that reminds him of a functional, happy family.
Yeah.
Jamal, real quick, normally at this segment of the show, we go into our most favorite scene of the show, but I think I'm going to take us in a different direction. I'm going to freestyle on you for a minute here. This dude, Frank Abagnale Jr., ran into multiple fraudulent careers. Which one do you think he probably should have stayed with?
I think the one that he should have stayed with is the one that he did stay with. And that was him becoming a guy who worked for the FBI.
No, but you gotta go. Give me one that he got fraudulently, like not that one. I want
the pilot. The pilot. Clearly, it's the pilot.
For the fraudulent ones, I don't think that any of them was sustainable for him because he didn't really have any skill to any of them.
The pilot,
like he was perfect on the surface, but to anything of detail, he was getting crushed. That's why he couldn't stay there. Like for the doctor situation, he couldn't even hold it together. Like, seeing blood made him want to throw up. You know what I mean? For the pilot situation, it was like, sure, I could deadhead all the way around the thing, but I can't land or fly the plane. And for the lawyer, well, we already seen how that turned out.
I think that's where I disagree. I think, again, he's being chased by the FBI. We get it. I think there was a future in the law thing. Now, his father-in-law, White, was a bigwig in the game. It was getting him all kind of paths. It could have just been that he was just a bad lawyer. That was possible. But when your father-in-law was a headliner, you can get by. I think the law field probably really would have worked for him in the long term.
So are we saying he never flew a plane? Because I was under the assumption he flew a plane.
I understood he was a co-pilot on every one. He never flew a plane.
He never flew a plane.
He never flew a plane because he never flew on the airline he represented.
He never flew for American Air.
He always deadheaded.
He would deadhead on every other airline.
Yeah. That was the big thing there. And to answer your question there, Chuck, I agree with you with the lawyer being the grift that he should have stayed with if he could.
Yeah, go ahead and go to the dark side. Go ahead,
but look what the judge. But look what the judge said. The judge was like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Well, again, that was his first case, and they knew it was his first case. So for them, he could have gotten away with that longer as being a rookie lawyer, building up and learning the game. With the pilot piece, you're risking your own life if you actually ever have to fly the plane. So I think the best grift for him was definitely the lawyer job.
Yeah.
Actually, I'll backtrack. The best grift he could have probably did was what Moan brought up, and that was probably being a teacher.
Oh yeah, well yeah.
To be in the student teacher,
Yeah, I
the
forgot
substitute
about that
teacher,
one.
because you can always jump. You can jump from school to school, but I mean, all of these needed credentials, so I don't know if any of them would have been sustainable.
Yeah,
Now,
he
for me,
was
I
good.
feel like hear me out now. The finale of this was he ended up working for the FBI, right?
Right.
Now, for me, I feel like even in that, it's a con. But it's a con as to which he is lonely at this point. He doesn't have anybody, and this is his only way of staying close to Handready. That's the only family that he has now at this point, and he wants to stay close to him. So he's doing this because he doesn't want to be alone.
So here's the funny thing. Because I found out some backstories. I found out that because he was doing the FBI thing, he did an undercover job, and that's how he found his current wife that he had his 3 kids with. So I mean, it could be something to that, Mark. It could be something.
And that's why I'm bringing that up, because I did read the last.
That's where his life.
I read the last caption where he ended up making. He actually ended up making millions from companies to figure out how to up their securities.
Security.
The question was, which of his grifts did you think would work? Not the FBI job.
But Maul's saying that's still a grip. It's still a con. He's still using that as a con.
It was still a grift.
He's still using that.
So Unspoken watchers, we appreciate you tuning in. This isn't the first time Jamal's reached on some stretch arm.
Hey.
Let's jump right now into our favorite parts of the film. We'll start with you, Mo. Where are you going with your favorite part? The scene that stood out, the scene that makes you say, you know what, I'd recommend this film to you.
For me,
yeah,
it would be the phone calls and how they change each time. Each time he called, the first time, Tom Hanks was mocking him like, "You're only calling me because you don't got nobody else to call." And then he hung up, and Tom Hanks is laughing to himself like, "Ha, ha, ha, yeah, I got him." But then the next time, after the call, he's looking around because he have other people in the room with him. And he's like, "What's happening there? Like, what's going on here?" I would say it's the interaction with the phone calls. And let me just add another layer on that cake. It's the part where he caught him when he was about to go for another joyride. And he was like, "Listen, man, you can't do this. I'm expecting to have you in the office Monday morning." And so now he's sitting there watching the clock like, is he gonna make it? Is he gonna be here? And then when he showed up, the way he looked, he was just like, So the interactions between them, I would say, was my favorite scenes.
Adrian, talk to me about the scene that really jumps off the page to you. And
so for me, it was actually when he caught him in Paris printing those checks.
That was good.
Yeah. That was. It wasn't a breakdown by like DiCaprio's character, but it was he was so happy to see Tom Hanks' character, to see Handready there, and being caught, and then he was the whole interaction with him where he's a little off in that whole scene because it's like he's starting to lose it some. Like he was starting to he wasn't as in control as he had been because it felt like now he has to travel outside of the country to do his thing.
Yeah.
And he had even less connections. And he probably hadn't talked to Handready in a while at that point, I would imagine. But I felt that was a scene where Leo really nailed it in this almost frazzled interaction that he was having.
It looked like he was on like Adderall or whatever. He was on every drug in the book.
Yeah, it was pretty entertaining that whole interaction and how Handready was saying to him, all these cops are waiting for you outside, and they walked outside, and he's like, "Good one, Carl, good one, you got me." And then the cars roll up, and he realizes it was for real. Yeah. And also in that scene, really quickly, you got to see Hanratty, Tom Hanks' character, really start to feel for Frank in
Yeah.
that scene, where that's where you really got the feel that, okay, he's looking at him more in that friendship mold now than he was before, because now he's concerned about his well-being. So again, I thought that scene was kind of showcased both of those master actors really hitting out the park there.
Yeah. Jamal, talk to me about that one highlight scene for you and catch me if you can.
Oh, the hotel. When he's walking to the his hotel room and he runs into Jennifer Gardner, the childhood star turned call girl, and she like kind of cons her way into his room and is negotiating out a price for the night. And I'm looking and I'm like, okay, he's going through his assortment of fake checks and he's like, this one, I can't, this one's too much. We agreed on this price. And she's like, well, I could break it for you, or you can just, give me the difference of the check and, I can cash it tomorrow. And he's like, deal.
Yo, like that scene is so great because even in a moment of apparent weakness, he's still on his game enough to fleece her out of $400.
Absolutely.
Like that's crazy to me. I saw that scene, I was like, nah, no way. This is classic work right here.
Absolutely.
To me, I think the scene that jumps out is that scene. I love that. That's Hustlers 101 right there.
That's Hustlers 101.
But there's another scene too, where he's on the plane with the pilots. And they say, so what are you up to? What are you doing, right? And he's like, I'm going to deadhead over here and chump the pond. And he's talking their language, right? He's the beautiful thing about a hustler, the beautiful thing about a con man. When those around you totally buy into what you're saying, right? Mm-hmm. And he said, I'm going to double over and deadhead and give a couple of weary pilots some rest. And they're like, yeah, we've all done it before. Hey, man, that's a complete victory right there. You know what I mean? Nobody's questioning him. Nobody has any secondary thought that he can be anything other than what he says he is. That's the victory. We've reached to the point already, fellas, where we're talking about the Springer quote, the film. Talk to us, Dre.
So for this quote, I want to preface it by going back to what I kind of felt this story was really about here. One of the big parts of the story was that connection between Hanratty and Leo's character there, between Hanks and Leo's characters, and how it came to a point where they almost seemed like they needed each other. So this is the quote when they were still looking for Leo and Walken. And Hanks was talking to another character, Earl M. Dursky was the name. And Earl said to Hanratty, why won't he just take a taxi to New York or Atlanta? And Hanratty said, because I'm not in New York, I'm not in Atlanta. He's going to be where he's at because he needs to be near himself. That for me, that was the quote that kind of summed it up for me.
Can I give an honorable mention to the scene where Abagnale has the foresight, just in Adrian's quote, he has the foresight to know that he's going to need a shield to get through Miami International. So he goes to a school, gets eight chicks to build it all with the sole purpose of building him a shield to get through that one airport.
Yeah.
Any one of us four would have driven to Fort Lauderdale. Yeah. Right? Like, no. I'm going through Miami and I'm going to build the shield to take incredible work. So we're talking about Catch Me If You Can this week. We're going to start with Adrian. Adrian, on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being a classic, what are you grading DiCaprio, Hanks, Walken, Sheen? Catch Me If You Can.
All right. So this again, another. I'm not sure Spielberg directed this one, but it was a Spielberg film, and Spielberg and Hanks together have been a pretty good combo. I really like this film. I thought the performances were great, And I really think Walken's performance was kind of underrated in this film a lot because no one ever talks about Walken's performance in this film. So I am. This is a tough one here. I am going to lean towards a 5 for this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
fair. That's fair.
It edged over the 4 to a 5 for me. Absolutely.
That's fair. Moan, I see your face is going wild. Let's get to you. Catch me if you can. Scale 1 to 5, 5 being a classic. Where you going with it?
Well, you're right. Steven Spielberg did direct this one. He did direct it, but I like the movie and everything, but I'm gonna go 4. I'm gonna go 4 with this one because it was good, but I don't think this was on the level of a classic where you be like every single. I'm gonna use Chuck's example where you gotta have the one great character and you gotta have that second character that blows him out of the water. I don't see it. I don't see it with the two characters being that great. But overall, I thought the movie was good, but it didn't give me my my heartstrings. It didn't pull. There was no tears in this movie.
Jamal, scale of 1 to 5. We're talking about Catch Me If You Can. What's your grade on this, brother?
I like a good hustle movie, and I think this was one of the best hustle movies that they've made. Not to mention, not only that, but it was based off of a true story. So that in itself is definitely, because after watching this thing, you're like, I can't believe somebody actually really did this, and that in itself is awesome. So
at 19 years old,
yeah, but you can't take that's. Go ahead.
I'm gonna go with a 5.
This film is decorated with elite writing, elite film work, elite production. Adrian was mistaken by saying that there were 3 classic performances, right? I'm gonna go on record as saying there were 4.
Oh, come on!
Performances in this movie. Now, I told you before, you need at least 2 to be considered a classic.
Yes.
DiCaprio and Hanks are a given classics. Walken, classic. Don't overlook the I'm telling you, this is top shelf acting. Early Amy Adams. Her scenes in this movie are really, really good. Really good. Just the emotional acting that she's displaying from the happiness with the braces conversation. Just watch her face. That's great acting. The sadness that she had when he was leaving. Her performance is elite. This movie's a 5. It's a classic.
Yo, Chuck, you taking regular. That's supposed to be your acting job. You're taking regular acting job and you're elevating him to the level of a Leo. That's her role. That's what she's supposed to do. She ain't stand out to me that much.
Amy's the blueprint on how you do emotional acting. She hit multiple scenes of happiness, despair. She hit elation with the wedding. She hit all kinds of emotional acting peaks in her short time. It's classic. 5.
She didn't hit my heartstrings.
3-5, bro. 3-5.
This is
Moan, if you're looking for heartstrings, Moan, just look at the mother's acting. Star-studded performance. Especially the Christmas scene.
Oh, goodness. Catch Me If You Can is going to fall into our new tier of classic films.
For sure. It's still a classic movie.
So we did a 19, right?
Yeah. It's a 19.
Yeah. That might be the single highest score. Have we had a 20 yet? I don't think we've had a 20 yet.
No.
Well, you guys stay tuned. We will hit a 20 in one of these coming episodes, hopefully. But for the Unspoken and the Mr. Cinemaniacs, we'll catch you guys next week. Appreciate you tuning in.
Peace.